The new look Canucks finish off their 2-game series against Ottawa. Jalen Chatfield pulls in as a 7th defenseman, and good old Tyler Mott is back, and he looked great. The Canucks picked up Vesey, V-E-S-E-Y. The guy's on, his third team now? They picked him up on waivers. He makes less than $1 million. He has 1 year left on the contract. Yeah, he's not piling up a lot of points. Yeah, the Leafs didn't have a use for him, but the Leafs are bloody deep. And the Canucks are the exact opposite. Their bottom 6 desperately needs somebody. And he could be that person. If they can score when given an opportunity at a third line rate, fourth line rate, that's fine. Because right now what the Canucks have most nights in their bottom 6 is less than fourth line quality with Roussel, Sutter, and Gaudette on a bad night. Although Gaudette has been impressing me. Anyway, let's get to this game. McEwen still in the lineup. I liked it. He had a good game. The Canucks came out confident. Mott had a pretty nice shift to start off. He was moving around. He was throwing some hits. The Canucks got an early goal. McEwen was hounding a Senator on the back check through the neutral zone. That Senator throws it to the side over to Dzingel. McEwen hits Dzingel, taking him out of the play. This opens up a passing lane for Schmid, who banks the puck right off Dzingel's skate to Horvat, who sees Brock open for a grade A chance, and he buries it. It was so nice seeing Mott out there. He can really move. I noticed him immediately. He has that water bug type of skating. He just accelerates so fast. It's something like the Canucks really lack in their whole roster, to be honest. He's one of their faster guys, and just makes things happen in a positive direction. Jake playing with Miller. No hit on the forecheck and just follows Miller around in the offensive zone instead of giving him a passing outlet. Just terrible. Jake on his next shift gets the puck on a rush in the neutral zone and just awkwardly flips it to Pearson, puts him in a bad spot. Rush is stopped. It's so frustrating. Myers gets stuck in his own end again as the first appearance of the Myers shift timer starts at 14:29 of the first. Gaudette grabs a loose puck in the Canucks corner. He has a few options, but not a lot of time. He decides to just start stick handling towards Demko, and he loses it. Luckily, Myers got a stick on it. I've been kind of negative to start off, but the Canucks did not play great tonight. Chatfield has some pretty great wheels. He outraced a Senator into a dump puck in the Ottawa zone, but really didn't see a lot of him tonight. Green relied heavily on his top 9. He really wanted to, just like last game, grind out a 2-1 win, and it ended up having the Canucks just look tired as Ottawa played like shit for the first period, but they came out really strong in the second, and their speed and hustle completely overwhelmed the Canucks through the neutral zone and especially on the forecheck. Brock and Höglander, I thought, didn't show very much chemistry in this game. There were a couple shifts where Brock or Höglander didn't really seem sure of where to go. They just sort of watched each other, just like I was criticizing Virtanen with Miller. Höglander can be very unpredictable on the boards, but it seems like Horvat and Pearson know what he's going to do, and I guess they have faith. Horvat and Pearson know that when Höglander goes on the boards, he's going to make some shifty moves. He's going to stop and start, and he's probably going to get the puck deep. That's the best place to go, is go deep. All the Ottawa guys are going to have eyes on whatever Höglander's doing, but Besser seemed to be sort of waiting for a drop pass or something. I mean, look, this isn't Pettersson. You're not going to get a nice drop pass. Horvat goal. A repeat of the failed Höglander to Horvat attempted goal from last game. This time it was successful. Höglander checks Ottawa's number 1 defender, Chabot, at the line, and he probably could have got called for a trip on that. His leg hit Chabot's leg. Chabot fell down. The thing with reffing in the NHL that is a part of the reason it's not effective is that they tend to call on the momentum of the game. The Canucks at this point were definitely the dominant team in the first period, and your player can get knocked over like that, and if it goes the other way, the refs are human and they're psychologically affected. I really don't like the officiating in the NHL. I think it's too inconsistent, and what happens is if you're only going to call a hook or a slash to the gloves or a holding, if you're in a cross check, if you're only going to call that stuff like 10% of the time, then it's in the player's best interests to just keep offending and breaking the rules and playing the law of averages. They need to go back, get on the same page and be really strict so that the players stop doing it. I mean, really, if you think about it, there's no reason other than you're taking a slap shot or a tip that on defense your stick should be off the ice. I mean, it should be basically like ring it. The only time they lift their stick off the ice is they go for the hands. You see players do this all the time. They know that they're beat, and the first thing they do is they just try to whack the offensive player's hands. And earlier in the season, it felt like the refs are calling that like crazy, and they've really declined. And I get it. It's a tough year. The refs are humans too. They probably have a really hellish schedule with COVID, and they're probably lonely on the road, stuck in their hotels. What are refs to do? Brock Besser, if you listen to my previous videos, I tend to criticize his playmaking, but I really wanted to highlight a monster shift he had here. He was in the Ottawa zone. He's in the right spot to pick up a careless Senator clear. He gets a shot off. A Senator picks up the rebound, but Brock checks him. He makes a move. He gets a pass on net, sort of like a dangerous play towards the net. Ben dumps it into the corner. Brock, against two Senators, checks both of them. Puck is almost loose, and he's reaching for it, and he manages to poke it, even though the Senator player was closer to it than he was. He pokes it back to the point for Canuck control. He's in the right spot to get a pass back. He makes a move. He keeps it alive to the point again. Picks up the puck behind the net, maintains control through a check to keep it alive. The puck eventually goes out of play, but Brock was all over the ice, winning possession, making great plays. He is really rounding out his game, and we're just watching it happen throughout this season. I wonder if Pettersson not being there, he's taking more responsibility and not just thinking if he's on a line with Miller and Pettersson, all you got to do is get in the right spot and do a little give and go, but he's taking a lot more responsibility. Good Branson, man, I feel bad for this guy on this play. He's in the Ottawa zone. His defense partner has the puck. No pressure. One Canuck forechecker. The pass quickly goes sort of to Goodbranson's skate, and the Ottawa commentator called it I forget the word he used for it, but he said the little space between your skate and your stick, and it's a real tough place to get it. It goes past Goodbranson, bounces off the boards, and McEwen hops on and gets a little mini chance all alone. I was watching Mott on the penalty kill, and I'm thinking he hurt himself, and he's playing like a total warrior. He goes to the boards and falls. Tries to get up, he falls again. Obviously, there's something wrong with his leg. He gets up, and he's staying in position. You can see one of the legs is quivering as he's trying not to fall. He goes down to block a shot, falls over, finally gets a whistle. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy hurt his leg, and he was out there like a baby deer trying to stand on it. And then the commentator goes, oh yeah, it looks like he just broke his skate. I mean, I still really applaud the effort, and goddamn did he try, but it's definitely less heroic when you have a broken skate than a broken leg. In the second period, the Senators came out and dominated. They kept it in the Canuck zone for almost the entire first 2 minutes, just kept going back in. The Sens continued to control play throughout the second, and they were eventually rewarded with a goal at the end of the third minute. Canucks eventually wrestled back some momentum in the second with a strong shift, especially from McEwen, Mott, and Gaudette. But the Senators were pretty dominant. Throughout that period, they were just exposing the Canucks defense and just racing through the neutral zone. Their forecheck was too much, and all of a sudden Edler started looking like he was getting overwhelmed big time. Although Ottawa controlled most of the second period, they couldn't score. In the third period, the play was a little more even, a lot of back and forth, a lot of passionate hockey. Again, it seems like these Canuck Senator games take a while to get any kind of passion going. It seems like both teams kind of go in there and get warmed up, and then they realize in the third period that, oh, one of us is going to lose. We need to start playing. Ottawa goalie gets hurt. Dacord. The backup is making his debut, his first ever NHL game. I'm thinking, oh yeah, Canucks are going to light this guy up, extend their lead. We saw the Rangers light up Philadelphia 9-0, and that was with minor league coaches. The coaching staff of the Rangers got hit with the COVID. Their minor league team comes in, their coaching team, and the Rangers score 9 goals. So maybe that's the key to success. Throw out all this crap, this defensive play, the lockdown systems, boring modern hockey, and just play minor league hockey. Score 9 goals. What are you going to do? You can't beat that. But instead of the Canucks lighting up Gustafsson, I believe his name was, Ottawa scores on their first shift after their goalie goes down. Schmidt, Nedler, and Brock all have several bad plays in their end. It started with a dump in towards Brock, And instead of him passing to Edler behind the net, he just kind of gets body position on it and waits. And then when he waits, he puts Edler in a worse position. They struggle to get it out. Tkachuk totally overwhelms Schmid. They come in with this flying V formation and get a tying goal for the rookie goalie. On the Canucks power play, Paul, for the Senators, rags the puck and just embarrasses the Canucks, wasting the first 30 seconds of their power play. The Canucks couldn't get set up or even get a shot on that power play. For the second half of the third period, the Canucks struggled more, and Ottawa just kept overwhelming them. They have less depth than the Canucks, and they have less top line. They're like a worse version of the Canucks. They have, terrible bottom six depth. They have a couple stars in the making on the top line with Stützle. Well, maybe just Stützle, but and Chabot, the guy can play 30 minutes a night. He averages some of the most ice time out of any defender in the NHL, and he has a great impact on the game. And the guy never looks tired. He just has this way where he makes it look effortless. He's like a taller Quinn Hughes. But and Ottawa's coached well, and they play good systems. So, they're gonna punish you. They're gonna make you pay. The Canucks were really struggling to end off this third period. Ottawa overwhelming them. The Canucks looked shattered. Their confidence was gone. They weren't skating to open positions. A lot of static, which is funny because for some reason Ottawa shows this weird video from Canucks practice, and it's Tyler Myers and Jace Howrluck looking at a whiteboard Travis Green has. And on the whiteboard it says, move your feet, move the puck. It seems like so elementary. He's talking to Tyler Myers, $6 million a year veteran. But the Canucks were not moving their feet, and they weren't moving the puck. There was at one point where the puck gets deep into the Canucks zone, and no one on the Canucks squad is moving when they get the puck. They're all just sort of hesitating, waiting for somebody to make the move, waiting for somebody to have that leadership. With 44 seconds left in the game, the Senators shoot it out of play, but because Miller's stick was near Chabot's blade, the refs rule it inconclusive. Overtime. Ottawa doesn't let Vancouver touch the puck for over 2 minutes. The Canucks eventually do get some chances. Chabot playing a 2-minute shift. This 3-on-3 was really carefully played. The players, especially the Canucks, they just looked afraid of giving up an odd man rush. Virtanen moves towards a bouncing puck that goes over his stick for a near dangerous chance the other way that's only foiled by a Senator player needlessly going offside. Virtanen rams into Hughes during the 3-on-3. Höglander does not get a chance, but Sutter is out there. I really don't understand it. Höglander would be incredible in 3-on-3. The guy's got speed. He could make up for any mistakes with his speed. He can dangle past people. He can hit people. He can pass. The only knock on the guy is he's kind of small and he's kind of young. So when 3-on-3, when you have all this extra space. But just like everything in the NHL and modern sports, it looks like they've figured out that the most effective thing to do in 3-on-3 is wait. And that's how the Canucks scored the winning goal last game against Ottawa. They just waited and waited. You're kind of waiting for that change, and there's all this open ice. And I think I liked 4-on-4 overtime better. It felt more like real hockey. And it's funny. You'd think that 3-on-3 would be so much faster paced, but actually 5-on-5 is faster because you got more guys that can go out there and check while still covering the defense. Anyways, we go to a shootout. I don't like shootouts. Demko was great in it, though. He stayed solid on Stützle. And then he made a ridiculous stretch, toe in the air save on Batherson. Miller went in so slow, and he flipped this weird softie right at the end. Horvat lost control on a deke. And Gaudette gets the winner. Makes a nice move. Squeaks one through. Canucks win. They looked pretty good in the first period and for parts of the third, but man, for almost all the second half of the third period, Ottawa just overworked them. Ottawa looked like they were embarrassed by the first period, and they made the Canucks pay for it when they came out to get revenge. Demko was once again great. I'm usually a big Schmid fan, but man, he struggled this game. It seemed like for the first half of the game, he was trying way too hard. He was trying to make too many moves, long passes. And when he slowed down and just started focusing on making that nice, solid short pass out of his zone, he was a lot more effective. And maybe that's a systems thing or a depth thing where you just don't have the guys coming around to give you an option. But yeah, he had a really rough one. Actually, I thought Myers played okay. He hasn't been making as many bad errors. He's actually been simplifying his game, and I think it's worked for him. And Hughes looking a little better. Ottawa's not a big bruising team that's able to focus on his weaknesses, so he was able to do a lot of skating. He's looking a little faster too. So overall, man, I'm really excited to watch Pettersson play again. I just really miss seeing that dynamic offense, especially on the power play. I love Pearson, but he just can't work on the power play. They put Mott on the power play at one point. Why not Höglander? I mean, he usually gets out there on the second power play unit. Maybe they just wanted to keep that as a good thing going. And if your first power play doesn't have Pettersson, well, maybe get them off the ice faster and get the second one on. And I'm excited to see this Vesey guy play. And I want to see way less of Roussel. I want to see less of Sutter. I would love to see, moving forward, I'd love to see the Canucks trade some assets. I see some people talking about trading Mott, and that's because he's probably the most valuable trade piece for the Canucks, being that he's young and he's on a cheap contract. He can kill penalties. He's fast. He has a scoring touch. He's physical. He had a heroic performance in the playoffs. And I would totally agree if he was 28, 29, or 30. But the guy's still young. I think he's like 25 years old, around there, 24, 26. I think he likes being on the Canucks. I think he adds a lot, just like I explained with everything. I think he has untapped offensive potential. It was a huge upgrade to see him on the ice tonight compared to what we've been seeing on the bottom six and what we've been seeing, frankly, throughout the lineup. If you're not Besser or Horvat or Miller, it's been a bit of a struggle. So I'd love to see Sutter get traded. Oh, I'd love it. And you know what, Sutter, if he could have a playoff run as a fourth line center somewhere, a fourth line winger, sure. I don't think he's really all that effective, although he's been playing some pretty solid defense lately. He wins some faceoffs. He's got that name. Old GMs love that name. I don't think Jarmo Kekalainen's going to trade for him, but I think old man Burke might. Maybe send him on over to Pittsburgh and we get one of their young guys or defensive prospects. I don't think those guys have any draft picks left, do they, on the Penguins? And why would you? If you got Crosby and Malkin, I mean, you might as well just go for it, right? But yeah, I would like to see them keep Mott. I'd like to see them double down, quadruple down. Give this guy 4 years, $2 million. See if he goes for it. Aquilini, you're cheap, Mr. Pizza Hut. You don't seem to want... Oh, my God. Speaking of not wanting to give Ian Clark money, I thought this was a joke when I first saw it tweeted, but then I saw a second person tweet it in different contexts with quotes. Adam Gaudette, after scoring a shootout winner, gave props to Ian Clark, gave credit to Ian Clark, saying that he gave him a tip on something to do in the shootout, and that gave them the game winner. I mean, what else can Ian Clark do to try to get a contract here? Like, sell a Pizza Hut, or just give Ian Clark ownership in a Pizza Hut. I know you've got a lot of them. You own all the Pizza Huts in BC. It's simultaneously the worst pizza and secretly the best, most satisfying pizza to have. And then you feel really sick after it. But yeah, I'd love to see Sutter get traded. Jake Virtanen, oh my God, I'd love to see him get traded. I'm just so sick of watching that guy play. They should have traded this guy so long ago, when people still thought, oh, he's a first rounder. And not just a first rounder, he was picked high. He does not have the brains for hockey. I don't know. It's boring talking about it because it's the same thing all the time. And he has a good game against Toronto, but if you don't have the brains for it, I was thinking about it. It's kind of amazing. You'd really think that out of skill, say like speed, size, a shot, puck handling, passing, and hockey sense, you would think that you could learn hockey sense and that you can't teach somebody just being big or fast. But it's actually the opposite. Horvat really improved his skating from it being a liability to him being a very strong skater who can beat people on the rush. But you cannot learn. I just don't think you can learn hockey sense. I think the game is played at such a fast rate that you need to be able to slow down Like, when you watch somebody get the puck in their end and a forechecker comes in, and the difference between watching Quinn Hughes behind the net, who is just waiting for the forechecker to make a move so that he can go around him, as somebody like Ben. And I think Ben has been unbelievable for the money and the elevated position they've put him in. You just watch him and there's that little bit of panic, right? And while I don't think Virtanen panics, I think it's he has the opposite problem where he doesn't panic. He just tends to slow things down, but not in a smart playmaking way. He just sort of hesitates. He was pulling up on hits. He just wasn't making anything happen. And in the playoffs, I was a big fan when he was playing with Miller and Pettersson, because I felt like he was one of the few guys that was helping them with the transition zone. But I'm just so tired of watching him. I don't think I'm going to talk about him anymore. I think this is it. I've said my piece. I can't talk about it. I hope to God somebody trades for him. Please, Maple Leafs, come on. Don't you want this young guy? No, they don't need him. They just got rid of old VC. They wouldn't want Virtanen. Who's going to want him? I don't know. But I really hope they don't trade Mott. I'd be so pissed. Anyways, what did you guys think? Thank you very much for watching and listening. I'll be back after the next game.